Hey, let's talk about how to write a blog that is worth $300 or more, like upwards of like $1,500. This is going to be a little bit of a copywriting tutorial so you can get paid better money for blogs. And yes, I know there are so many examples of people on Fiverr and Upwork charging like 2 cents for a blog. And that is something that is just so unfortunate because it distracts people who are first starting out in this industry who think that there's no way to make good money. Oh, by the way, I'm Sarah Turner. I'm a freelance copywriter and copywriting mentor, and I want to share a little story with you before we begin. So when I was early in my days as a copywriter and a content writer, I actually wrote for a content mill, an agency that was just cranking things out and keyword stuffing. And honestly, it was so just like cringy. I felt like it could be written better, but I was still learning and didn't have a lot of confidence. And so I was just trying to make ends meet, literally trying to pay my bills, trying to pay out some of my credit card debt, and trying to work from home. So when I worked for this company, I was earning $30 for a 1,000-word blog. And they were so condescending to me. Like their feedback was just straight up mean. And it really took a number on my confidence. And it was also confusing because I was like, the person giving me this feedback is a writer herself. So this feedback, she actually took the time to write out being mean. I was like, feels a little unnecessary. But then I accidentally got CC'd on an email where this person was communicating to another person within the company that I was one of the best writers at the agency. And also in that email contained the pricing that they were charging their clients. And they were charging their clients $300 for the pieces they were paying me $30 to write. And I was just like, wow, this lit a fire under my butt. Because I was like, oh no, this cannot happen. I clearly need to go out and get clients of my own. And so I started down the path of really figuring out how to set up my own business to break away from relying on content mills. It's why I'm so passionate about, keeping people off Fiverr and Upwork. Although you can make Fiverr and Upwork work for you, I just don't think it's the best place for newbies. Anyway, it's why I'm so passionate about this. It's why I really like teaching people kind of how to set up their own independence from the start rather than even working with an agency. You can learn a lot from working with an agency, but you'll kind of be handed whatever work that they have as far as like who their clients are. So this is a big part of my why and why I teach and why this is so important to me, quite frankly, because I really just hate seeing freelancers and copywriters being taken advantage of. So enough about that, although it is kind of important and it's the reason why I keep showing up and creating these videos for you guys. But let's jump into what you need to include to earn upwards of $300 a blog so that you can avoid some of the pitfalls that I had when I was first starting out. So the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to incorporate copy, and you're also going to want to incorporate SEO. So SEO, or search engine optimization, is how people actually find the blog. And it feels really complicated, but it's actually not that complicated. There are some best practices you need to learn, like including keywords, learning how to do some keyword research, but there's wonderful tools like Ubersuggest, which will help you out and make it a lot easier. You can also use Yoast, which is a WordPress plugin, which will actually make the recommendations and check the piece that you wrote and give you like a little green light if you've done it well and give you red lights where things need to be improved. So I'm not going to dig too much into SEO because that's like a whole nother topic and video on itself, but I do want to give you some words of encouragement. When I was first learning SEO, I was so overwhelmed by it. And then I had this realization, oh, this is everyone's best guess. This is something that people are putting their heads together on to try and figure out what actually works to show up in Google, because that's the point of SEO. And the point of SEO is to show up at the top of Google. Now, that's an important part of learning how to make blogs really valuable for your clients. But here's the thing. It's also really important to understand copy, because there are content blogs and those can be okay. But I think it can be kind of a waste of time and money if you're not taking that opportunity when you're creating a big piece of content like a blog to not incorporate copywriting techniques, which is techniques of persuasion, of connection, of connecting with your audience, of making sure you're really tapping into what it is they want to get out of this. Because usually they're finding it because they're searching for solutions to something And it's a great opportunity to position your product or service as the solution to the thing they're looking for. Think about it for a second. Most of us use Google by typing in questions. We type in a question because we want to figure out what the answer is. And what is the thing that we usually find? A blog that answers our question. And so when those blogs are super helpful, appear credible, and then ultimately have a solution for us, we're pretty likely to go ahead and potentially purchase from that business because they're solving the problem that we are looking for solutions for. So that's how blogs can be powerful. They can be just purely informative, but I think it's really helpful and better to take it one step further. So that's why I really advocate for blogs that are written as copy and not just as purely informative content. So take the time to actually incorporate a call to action, one of the basics of copy into the blog that you're writing for your clients. Invite the person who's reading to, purchase something that solves their problem, to sign up for an email list to learn more, or some other action, right? Don't let them just jump off the page and not continue the conversation. The next piece of advice I have for you is to start to move towards longer pieces. We are now starting to see that pieces that are 3,000 words, 2,500 words, those are the ones that are showing up at the top of Google. So writing a 1,000-word blog does not have the impact that it once did. It's okay if that's where you start. There's nothing wrong with that because it's going to depend so much on the competition of the keywords that you are incorporating and trying to capture. But for most people, you're going to eventually want to move into longer pieces, and it can be at a lower frequency. So for example, you could be writing 2,000-3,000 word blogs each month for a client. That's going to be so much more impactful in the long run. But again, if you're writing 1,000-word blogs, it's okay. Everybody's got to start somewhere. I'm a big believer in tapping back into the beginner me who was just starting out. And I still had a really big impact in my clients' businesses with that recommendation. So again, it's not all or nothing, but ultimately to earn more for your blogs, you're gonna wanna start writing longer form pillar pieces is often what they're called. Pillar pieces are the ones where you're really trying to go all in on a keyword and capture that #1 spot in Google. And that is so valuable. And it can be really rewarding when you write one for a client, you actually win that. That's something that you can use and share in the future with other clients to showcase your skill set and how you really know what you're doing. The next piece of advice I have for you is don't write fluff. Try really hard to make sure that everything is super concise and that you're actually bringing good quality information and even saying something new than what's already been said before. So a really good thing to do is to go ahead and look at what is capturing the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spots in Google and think to yourself, how can I beat this? Because when you spend the time to really dig in and write something that is high quality and super valuable to the people who are searching for solutions to their problems, you can capture that #1 spot and remain there for a really long time. And we all know that most of us, when we type into Google, we kind of scroll past those ads and look for that first organic piece. And that's because people are so much more trusting of the organic search than they are of those paid ads. I mean, I'm definitely one of those people, and I understand that this is marketing. And I still scroll past the ads and look for the top organic search result. So when you are writing pieces like this, you are able to charge so much more. Quite frankly, a 3,000-word blog that's written as a pillar piece with optimized SEO and written as a piece of copy and not just letting people go free after they finish reading, it's actually encouraging them to take that next step. That is a very valuable piece of copy. In fact, that could be upwards of $600, $700, $800. So these are the things that you really need to focus on if you want to earn top dollar for your blogs. Other pieces of advice I'd have for you is get good at formatting. People are reading things on their phone these days most of the time, so you really want to break up walls of text. The other thing that I'd say is make sure you're going after quality clients, like people who are actually interested in growing their business and growing their marketing. This might feel obvious, but I've often seen people who who are first starting out go for such lower level like clients. Not that they're like not good clients or good people, but they're just not ready for your services, right? So take the time to really identify people who seem ready for what it is you're trying to do. The other thing that I'd encourage you to do is to not just do one-off pieces, but incorporate it into either a retainer or some sort of bigger comprehensive strategy. That's going to also increase the value, right? Because it's okay to write one-off piece here and there, but it's going to provide you with ongoing work if it's a part of a bigger strategy. And quite frankly, it's going to be more powerful for your client. So these are some of my tips. You can make great money writing blogs. So don't discount them. And I want to also say that just because you write blogs doesn't mean that you're not a copywriter. I see a lot of people online kind of poo-pooing blogs, but they're still one of the most effective pieces of copy out there, especially when they're done well. Again, it's not one of the sexiest ones. It's not going to get you metrics like the number of followers or shares or going viral on TikTok, but it is a tried and true, steadfast piece of marketing. And it is so important to remember that those steady, old, reliable pieces still pack a huge punch when it comes to impacting a business. So I hope this helps. Go ahead and hit that thumbs up button if it did. Please don't forget to subscribe. And of course, I always love hearing from you guys in the comments. Thanks, guys.